all the things we've ever talked about.
I wasn't here the first semester.
Well, I guess you're just going to have to fail at life. There'll be a lot of multiplication. There'll be a lot of fractions, a lot of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division stuff. There'll be a little bit of equations and a little bit of proportions on there.
Is it going to be about
Well, yes, and yes, you do. The stuff we did way back, remember, we did about 5 times throughout the year, too. Because we cycled back several times throughout this year, which is great.
Sorry I was late. I got caught up in construction.
Oh my gosh, you're not a construction man. What are you doing in construction?
I got caught up in Minecraft.
You're what?
You just said you were tired because you had to wake up.
Probably why he was up till 2. He was playing Minecraft.
Because my friends called me, and when my friends called me, I answered and called them for years.
Okay. Any other questions on this homework assignment? Excuse me.
But on the test, you should study.
What?
Everything on the test, you should study good for you.
You can. What I would study, the things that I would study for y'all, like things that you may or may not have down solid, is things like integer rules. Like adding and subtracting positives and negatives, and multiplying and dividing positives and negatives. I would study things like that. I would study things like how do you multiply fractions? How do you divide fractions? Does that make sense? Things like that.
Is it going to be dividing decimals?
Definitely. There will be 1 or 2 of those.
No.
Don't stress.
I am. What if I just skip the day that the test is on?
You
Is
fail.
it
Oh,
on
look.
Monday?
Which ad do you think this is? Which scam is it?
T-Mobile.
Card
Hello?
is.
It's David from the Vehicle Services Center.
I called it.
Hi, David. Vehicle's coverage may have lapsed.
Oh no!
I don't have time to talk to you right now. Go ahead.
On your Toyota Focus 2025.
They're from balance.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's do something new.
Civic Focus 2027.
Brand spanking new. Shiny.
Shiny. Tasty.
Okay. We're going to talk about and practice using the distributive property. Which means multiplication, but 2 or 3 times worth. Okay. In generic terms, this is how to do the distributive property. Are you ready? Just write it down. Don't stress about it. We'll put numbers on it, and it'll make even more sense in a minute. If you have A times B plus C, that equals A times B plus A times C. So let's look at an example.
Luke? Why does this problem not have any numbers?
That's not a problem. That's a definition.
We're getting pre-algebra.
We've been in pre-algebra this whole year, dude.
Pre-algebra?
Yeah, this whole year. Everything from about 5th grade on is pre-algebra. True facts. Everything from about 5th grade till about 8th grade-ish, sorta, is the same class repeated, but with a little bit of stuff added.
Why are we doing this then?
Because you don't know it well enough yet. What? Okay, so here we go. Let's do it. Let's do example.
Spell it right. Example.
What?
Distributive. How do you spell it?
Like that.
Easy. Distributive.
Distributive. All right, let's do an example. 3 times 5 plus 2. We're going to do this problem not once, but twice. We're going to do this particular problem 2 different ways because we can. And we're going to make a point that it works. So over on this side, we're going to use just order of operations. So we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, right? So we're going to do what's in the parentheses first, right? So what's 5 plus 2? 7.
Do I need to draw the line down the middle?
You sure could. And then we've got 3 times 7. What's 3 times 7? 21. Okay. So this particular problem, that would be just regular order of operations, right? We're going to do this problem a different way. We're going to do this problem using distributive property. So the distributive property says we take this on the outside and we distribute it. Okay. What are you saying? Remember when there's a number next to a parentheses with something else, that's multiplication. Remember?
Well, what's an E? I think you were doing this when I visited the pre-algebra.
What?
Something similar. You were talking vaguely about it.
Seems plausible. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 times 5 plus 3 times 2. Okay. So 3 times 5 plus 3 times 2. So what's 3 times 5? 15. What's 3 times 2?
6.
Yes. What's 15 plus 6?
21.
So this is essentially a proof that it works. Now let's look at another example with differenter instructions. Differenter. True facts. Example 2. Eight times. Oh, the instructions say simplify.
Instructions.
Times x minus 3. Now this one we can't do it like this way on the right, right? Because you can't add x minus 3 because those are not like terms. One of them's got an x and one of them doesn't, so they don't go together, right? It's like trying to put cats and dogs together. It just doesn't work, right? Possibly a bad example, but you get the point, right?
My dog bit my
Okay.
cat. Like, and when he
Did the cat die? I hope so. No.
When he looked up,
Yikes.
his
I'm allergic to cats, and I don't wish death on them.
and when he looked up,
It's more of a joke than anything else, but I really don't like cats much, so, you know, there it is.
And birds just spilled out of his mouth. It was like
Cats are dumb.
bad.
Yeah, they are.
They just like grab, they jump up on the curtains and they go. They're also selfish brats.
He like you would
Stupid
hate.
Cats are kind of awful.
Here,
but it's okay. So we're going to distribute the 8 is what we going to do. 8 times x is 8x. Whoa. Whoa. 8 times negative 3 is what? What? So close, and yet so far. Negative 20. What did you say, negative 24? Look at that. Look at y'all. Teamwork makes the dream work. Minus 24. And that's as simple as that guy gets, because we can't put those together, because this one's got an X and that one doesn't. So he don't go together. Okay. How are we doing with that problem? Does that make sense? Yeah, and it would turn back into this. There isn't any both sides because there's not an equals. If we had an equals, we could keep going, which we're going to do a problem that's going to do that because we're going to use distributive property with what we learned last time. So we're going to have that, but we don't have it yet. Actually, we're probably going to do just, before we do the proportion, we're probably just going to do an equation with distributive property. But that's fine. Let's do another one of these. Example 3. That's finished. That's why the instructions are simplify, not solve. We can't solve if there's not an equals. We can't make it any simpler than that. That's as simple as she gets.
How do you know it's a she?
What were those letters up on the top?
Well, I know.
What were they?
That would look at. This is a definition. A times B plus C. We distribute the A, right? And so A times B plus A times C.
So the letters are this.
Representative. That's what letters always are in maths and science. And, English, because letters represent things in there too.
No.
They're just more complicated.
It's like which number is bigger.
Because you can have just a handful of letters in an English class, and it can mean like way lots and lots of things. But in math, it just kind of means this one little thing. Math is so much simpler than English. Both are enjoyable, don't get me wrong. I like a good literature study. But math is much simpler than English. Much, much simpler.
They're my worst subjects. Like, I can't do them.
You're going to have to... Stop saying can't, because it's a lie. So you're going to have to learn that you can do it. That's your goal in the next few years. We're getting more and more. In the last month-ish, last few weeks, I have noticed a gainful improvement in your ability to try to get it. Good job. We're so proud.
High five. I hit you in the face. That's it.
There is hope for you yet. Yay. Okay, let's do another one. We're gonna do one more like that one, and then we're gonna do one that looks scary.
No.
All right.
Fear.
Negative 30. Let's just do 30. I was gonna say 30 something, but then I changed my mind because I don't want that part to be the tricky part. Times 2y minus 10.
32.
Okay. So we've got to distribute that negative 30, right? Okay. I would, because it'll help you remember to do it all. So need, no, highly recommended, yes. In a different color, heck yes.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
What if I'm colorblind though?
Well, then use colors that you can see. Okay.
Everything is black and white. What do you do?
Use some nice things that give you a nice grayscale. Brilliant. There's an answer to all your questions. Stop it. You cannot fence words with me.
I mean, you never.
What if I get stabbed in the eye and I'm blind?
That seems to have happened. Okay.
What?
Now, so we're going to do negative 30 times 2y. So we've got to do negative 30 times 2. We can't do it times y because what does that mean, right? We just got to write it down next to each other. So what's negative 30 times 2?
60.
Negative 60, right? So this first term is negative 60y. And then negative 30 times negative 10 is what? Positive 300. You absolutely have to put the plus sign because it would mean something different if you didn't.
Wait, but on the other one, 8x minus 24, there's a minus sign.
Well, it's a minus sign because it's minus.
It's a minus.
Because a positive time, what?
So it could be either.
Well, it can be whichever one's supposed to go there, right? We could have written this. It's not as clean looking, but theoretically we could have written this as this, right? Because that means the same thing. We've been hammering that in for a long time. So you absolutely could have written it like that. And at this point in your math journey, I wouldn't even count wrong, and I would probably be happy that you thought about it. So I would accept either one of those.
And when you're doing these, you don't necessarily need to solve it.
Right.
finish it.
You can't. It is finished, which is the scariest part of these problems. I don't know how many times I've taught stuff, and even in somebody in high school comes and I give a problem like this, and somehow they end up with the answer 72 or whatever else. Somehow magically pop a number out of this somehow. I don't know how they do it, but they somehow do it.
What if I just guessed?
We don't believe in strange magic in math. Okay, we're going to do one that looks scary, but it's actually super easy. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready to rumble?
Ready to rumble.
Example, what is this, 4? I am right. Example 4. A times 3b minus 8. So what are we going to do with that A? What is that D word we're learning about today? We're going to distribute it. So we're going to distribute that A. Wait for what? So A times 3B is 3BA.
But wouldn't it be A, 3B?
Either one of those is actually correct. We haven't learned this really yet, but multiplication has a commutative property, and we can prove it with this. What's 3 times 4? What's 4 times 3? So you can rearrange multiplication, and it's still the same thing, is the idea. You could actually write this as 3AB if you wanted to.
We need to have in our next problem.
We pretty much always put the number first, though, and then the variables. So we would put the 3 first.
But it's not technically wrong.
Yes, that's right.
Does it make it easier to put the number first?
It's more normal. I know you don't want to be normal because you're, middle schoolers, but it's math class, so we got to try for some normalcy. So there's the answer right there. Done, finished.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't even hardly have to think. You just had to write stuff down
Oh my goodness.
You do.
after you've distributed.
And thinking was
That's
the same
it.
as writing stuff down, the world would be very disorderly.
Well, like, we get no answer on that.
Probably. Unless it's all numbers. Like example 1. Let's do another one. You're going to love this one. It's going to be your favoriteest ever. Example 5. 1/2 times 4c minus 32. So what are we going to do with that 1/2?
32 is still close to 71. Distribute it.
We are going to distribute that 1/2. That's right.
What's like the definition of distribute?
This.
To figure out problem.
You didn't expect me to have an answer to that, even though you didn't, because you didn't pay attention when I said like 3 times today that that's the definition. But it's okay. You're listening now. Okay, so what's 1/2 times 4c?
1/2 4C.
True, but what's 1/2 times 4? 2. So this would be 2c. Yeah, we multiply the numbers just like we did with regular numbers. Remember, fractions are just numbers. All the rules are still the same.
So 1/2
What's 1/2 times negative 32? Negative 16. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my. Let's do example 6. Please don't tear up my wall. I'm not being silly. Neither one of you need to be slamming into the wall. Make sense? Yes. Good. Moving on. Negative 3/4 times 2/3 D plus 4/3. I'm going to write the intermediate step in here because we probably need to not try to do this all in our brains, right? Because we only have so much practice. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute, right?
So much brains
I only have one brain.
Really? Me too, besties. Oh my goodness. My brain is blown.
Why are you not writing things down? Keep going. You're going to get behind. Fruit tracts.
So cool. Fruit tracks.
Have you ever said like the same word as someone that you know, like at the same time,
And then they were like, jinx. Yeah, totally done that.
without like trying to at all?
Okay.
Or like the first thing you
What should we do with this first one?
scream at it.
Now what? I think we've already done that step. Now what? We should definitely pre-reduce. It's going to make our life a lot easier, so how?
I'm used to owl.
Cross the 4 and the 2 out. What are we dividing them by? 2. What's 2 divided by 2?
1.
What's 4 divided by 2?
2. Next to 3 is a 1.
We divide them both by 3, which does, in fact, turn them into 1. Good job.
Good job.
So is the answer to this multiplication, this guy right here, is it going to be positive or negative? Negative, because we got a negative times a positive. That's right. So negative 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So negative 1/2 D. Now let's look at these guy. We should also pre-reduce him, so what's going to happen here? Sounds great. And then? Also sounds great. Is this going to turn out negative or positive? Oh my gosh, such a hater. So negative.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's gonna end up positive anyway.
It's not, lies.
Yeah.
So 1 times 1 is,
1.
and then 1 times 1 is, oh my gosh, y'all are brilliant. You can. Remember that plus a negative is the same as subtracting, so you can write it either way. Adding a negative is the same as subtraction. We've been saying that for months now.
7 years. 71, actually.
Okay. Let's do example 7, but this time we're going to change it up a bit, because the instructions are going to say solve.
Does this mean we need one number answer?
Quite possibly, unless you don't, but you won't have that today, because that's abstract algebra. Example 7. We're going to do what is quite other than our crazy problem. We're going to do what is quite possibly our first multi-step equation. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Okay. Negative 2 times 2x minus 2 plus 2 equals 332. Oh no. Okay. Let's see if we can figure out a good place to start. And I think because of what we're learning about today, maybe, just maybe, we should start with that step. Let's do it.
Maybe we should add another A.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute. What are we going to distribute? The negative 2, right? This guy, right here. Blammo. So what's negative 2 times 2x? I'll ask it again. What's negative 2 times 2x? Negative 4x, right? And then negative 2 times negative 2 is what? Positive 4. Now that we've done that thing, we're going to just bring down everything that we haven't touched. So we haven't touched this. The equals is going to stay lined up. If you're not putting these on separate lines of your lined paper, fix your life, children. Fix your life. Get a life, then fix it. Okay. But what? Well, we have to have the plus because we still have all this other junk. Okay. So what should we do now? I'll tell you what we're going to do. Does that sound great? We have on the left side, we have some like terms. Which ones are like terms on this side? The 4 and the 2. What makes you're right. What makes them like terms? No, it's not because they're both positive. That's a good thought, but that's not what it is. No, it's not that either. What are they both? They're both purple. She already said that. What do they both not have? Oh my gosh, y'all are missing the obvious. You're missing the obvious. What do they not have? They don't have an X. That's what makes them like terms. So what's 4 plus 2?
6.
Thank you. I didn't think that was going to be the thing that broke you all. Now, we did nothing with this, so we're bringing it straight down. Four plus 2 is 6, so plus 6. We're going to bring down all the other things that we have not touched. All right, now we've got a two-step equation. We've done these before. Yes. What should we get rid of first, the negative 4 or the 6? We should get rid of the 6. That's right. It's easier to get rid of the addition and subtraction first. So how do we get rid of that 6? That's right. We're going to subtract 6 on both sides. That's exactly right. Those cancel. We're going to bring this guy down. Negative 4x equals, what's 332 minus 6?
326.
326. Literally. Divide by negative 4. That's right. We're going to scratch paper this, but before we scratch paper it, we're going to write down that our answer is going to be negative so we don't forget here in a minute, right?
We should always write our homework at the beginning.
Why? Why?
I said that last time.
Yeah, you said this last time.
I can't write the homework at the beginning because at the beginning of class I don't always know how far we're going to be able to get. Because it depends on how quickly we're able to go that particular day. So I cannot write our homework at the beginning. It is a good thought and makes sense. So 4 goes into 3 how many times?
None times.
None times. 4 goes into 32 how many times?
8 times.
8. What's 8 times 4? 32. 32 minus 32 is 0. We're going to bring down the 6.
Sometimes.
It does go in once. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now what do we do? 81 and 2/4. I bet almost anything that 2/4 is going to reduce. What can we reduce it by? 2.
What was that? Garbage.
So our answer is negative 81 and what?
2 or 1 more.
What? What did you just say?
Nothing.
What's 2 divided by 2, y'all?
1.
1. What's 4 divided by 2? 2.
I said 1/2.
That may be true, but I heard 1 and 1/9, so I was really confused. I'm sure I believe you. I'm just telling you what I heard, and then you didn't repeat what you said, so I didn't get the chance to hear the right thing.
You heard it wrong.
So basically, it's your fault.
I beg to differ.
All right.
You differ today.
Let's do one more like that, and then we're going to write some homework.
Wow.
Whoa.
What is
Example 8.
What was that so
because reverb.
Okay, for a second I thought that was example 81.
I know. It still kind of looks like you.
Yeah, you slept through like 70 some odd examples. How did you do that? All right. Negative 5 times P minus 8. Close parentheses. Minus 3 equals 9.
3 is so close to 72.
So close.
In comparison to like 4,000.
So what are we going to do? That was a question to the room. What are we going to do? We're going to distribute the, that's not a 5, it's a negative 5. That's right. So what's negative 5 times P? Negative 5P. That's exactly right. And then negative 5 times negative 8 is what? Plus 40. We're going to bring down all the stuff we didn't touch. Now what? We've got some like terms there we ought to clean up first. Which ones are like terms? 40 and negative 3, right? So let's clean those up. What's 40 minus 3? Because they don't have a P. What's 40 minus 3? What? It is 37. We're going to bring down what we didn't touch. Okay. Now what? Focus, dude, focus. Subtract 37 sounds wunderbar.
Is that like war mesh or something? No. It's like war mesh.
My ears aren't working very well today because I could have swore you said, is that like DoorDash or something?
I said Warabesh.
Warabesh.
That's a language.
Pretty sure it's not. Pretty sure it's not even anything.
In Star Wars that me and my friend have memorized.
It's the language of who in Star Wars?
Most people in Star Wars.
That's a lie because most people in Star Wars speak basic.
No. No. Like, it's like their writing language.
You're trying to convince people that you're like more of a nerd.
Like,
you
I
know,
just
like all this
speak very-
fancy language of Star Wars. I don't think you do.
I do.
Are you sure?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do, I promise.
17 minus 9.
I have a sentence for you. 8.
What's the last thing we're going to do? So close and yet so far. Negative 5. That's right. So is our answer going to turn out positive or negative? Positive. So 5 goes into 28 how many times? 5 times. What's 5 times 5? 25. What's 28 minus 25?
3.
Now what? 5 and 3 over 5. Does 3/5 reduce? No. So our answer is 5 and 3/5.
Wonderful. Wonderful mate.
Any questions before we write some homework?
Or as I like to call it, hink.
What?
Hink.
I see.
You sound like a Minecraft villager, probably intentionally. That's my suspicion.
How many problem solved last year?
Absolutely.
I Minecraft for the last 5 hours.
Homework. Your homework is even going to have 2 parts
Hearing is hard.
What?
because it has 2 different instructions.
No. Yes. I'm gonna guess.
5,280.
Oh.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have asked.
Numero uno. Oh, the first part, the instructions are simplify.
Wait, like half of the homework problems were just supposed to simplify?
I don't know about half, but the first part, yes.
I can't stop seeing memes and everything.
Number 1. 3 times negative x minus 6. Number 2. Negative 5 times 3y minus 13. I already said 5,280. Number 3. Negative 6 times z
That's a Z.
plus
It's a Z.
2/3.
Honestly, Z makes more sense than Z. Like,
Number 4.
I'm like a sports announcer.
6/5 times negative 70 G
You're gonna say 7.
plus 15. The instructions for the second part are
It's solved.
solve.
I'm a genius.
I'm so busy this week.
You're going to find time for math.
Is that a threat?
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't say what it was a threat of. There was
What's the threat of?
Are you gonna shoot me with a shoe?
no. I might throw a chancla at your face.
What?
Oh my gosh. I teach so many white people now. This is the first job I've had where I haven't pretty much entirely worked with Hispanics. Pretty much every other job I've ever had. True facts.
My whole
I miss my Hispanic folks.
family looks like this paper.
Okay. Number 5. Did we write down? Do I need to hold on this for a second, or did we get these all copied?
Yep. That is
Okay.
great.
Number 5. Negative 8 times 12h plus 2, close parentheses, minus 6 2,336 equals negative, excuse me, 10.
Negative gas.
Number 6,
Wait.
1/2 times 4i plus 18.
That was a crooked eye and it confused me.
No, it was a cursive I, not crooked.
I don't remember very much cursive.
It's going to be okay. Minus 64 equals negative 64.
I learned print. I shouldn't have to learn another script.
I think it's pretty when it's done nicely.
Number 7.
Elective. If I wasn't forced to do it, I would like it.
Like reading.
But like,
I
I
love
like to
reading.
make it really extravagant. And then it's, I like it. Like,
Negative
I have to read for school, but if she makes me read it.
2/3
2/3.
times negative j
Negative J.
Gas.
plus 3/4. Close parentheses. Minus 5 equals 15.
If I wasn't forced to do cursive, I would really enjoy it. I was forced to do cursive when I was
Number 8.
the rest of these homework problems are going to take up the rest of your book.
The rest of your book.
5,280.
I know, so crazy.
Crazy. Why is that homework so slow?
Number 8.
Like say super.
Well, if I don't, then it's more likely that you will copy it wrong.
Yeah.
1/4
I understand why it's helpful when I know,
times
but when I personally
Like wrap it really fast.
4k
4K.
minus 4.
We got through 1,000 problems already.
Plus 1 equals 16. You have 3 minutes. I didn't say put up. Start on your homework.
I'm so excited to go home and sleep.
Too bad.
Oh my gosh, your parents probably aren't even here.